Come rain or shine, Lake Bowerman is a reprieve for city people in need of a daily dose of nature. In coming here for their shot of the medicine that cures their veins of pollution, the car parks fill up and their cars spill out onto the roads and verges along the west side of the lake, gouging deep tyre scars into the duckbed earth. The detritus of all they come here to escape left behind to mar the very face of the beauty they seek. But for just one day, Lake Bowerman gets its own absolution from the norm, and it's on that very morning that I come here to listen to the whispering sighs of its relief. The last slivers of night are still clinging on when I arrive. I like to get here early, get my run done and be gone again before the kids wake up. I should be there with Mum and the boys as they open up their stockings and help unmake their beds with sheets of wrapping, rather than ruining another Christmas morning in my selfish pursuit of a healthy mind. But this is my routine, one I've been in for years, and without it, what Charlie, he's my youngest brother, calls the grump will come out to sour yet another day. I've been lost lately. My mind is riddled with anxiety that I can't seem to uproot, and I need the release that running the lake brings me, now more than ever. I think I might be coming down with a cold though, because my throat's been hurting and swallowing is getting tougher, like there's a hand squeezing my Adam's apple closer to the razors in the inside. I'm tired. I've slept, but it doesn't feel that way. Everything is heavy, the swollen weight of bags prying open eyes that just want to stay shut. My thoughts have been the same. Sluggish. Like rotten teeth, I've been trying to pull them out one by one to heal the infection they've been causing deeper down. But every time I think I have one in my grip, it slips away again. Dr. Jessup says that I'm in a slump. Mind fatigue is a sign of depression, apparently. She suggests I need to concentrate more on being less disconnected, and that I should try to forget about what it was that knocked me down, by filling my time with the things that make me feel good and letting them lift me up again. She is right. I know she is. And by me not listening is just my way of allowing pessimism to drive the rot deeper. I consider getting back into the car and heading home to Mum and the boys, but the lake calls out to me. Its cool breath telling me that it wants me here. Listening to it, in my heart, I know that right now, this is exactly where I need to be. This is where I belong. Where I might just get a grip on those thoughts for long enough to rip them clean out from my infected mind. As I tighten the laces on my trainers, I can't help but wish I had a better pair. I wanted the more expensive ones. The ones not made by the chafed fingers of poor Chinese children. But Mum insisted they were an expense we just couldn't stretch to, what with the boys starting big school next year. And now the queue on the side of the left one is missing. A ghost of its shape sits there in a faded outline of stitches, and there are small splits in a white canvas beneath the dark scuff marks of dirt. Pine needles from my last run still clog the cracking grooves of their broken soles and stick out in dusty sprigs that jab into my heels with every step I take. I want to tell Mum that I told you so, that my expensive taste was warranted. But then I remember what Dr. Jessup said in our last session. I really do have to show more positive appreciation for the things Mum does for us. Since Dad left, it's been hard for her. But no matter how shit things get, she never lets it show. She's our rock. It's just hard sometimes to remember how time and pressure can wear granite down too. I have to stop being selfish, and I have to quit letting my own bullshit fog my understanding of the important stuff, even though it scares me. I have to remember that it was my choice to drop uni in my third year and swap it out for bar work to help support Mum. Wait, see, there I go, lying to myself again, using her as the excuse like I always do. I need to own up to my own feelings. I need to be honest with myself. I couldn't take the pressure, it's as simple as that. So I bailed. And now for me to move on, I have to come to terms with that. I have to understand that why I'm feeling like the world is leaving me behind is all on me. It's not on Mum. But it's difficult to do because since making that choice, I have just felt so lost, without purpose, not me. And I don't know how to find the man I was before all this so that he can put it right again. Pathetic, right? Trust me, I know. And I want to be able to get over myself enough to help things get back to how they were, but something bigger than me is in my way, and I just don't know how to tackle an obstacle that I can't see. I take 4 slow breaths of moist pine air and start out in a slow jog. Just me, the lake, and nothing more. Isolation unfiltered. Just how all the good things in life should be. Love, sex, coffee, cigarettes, honesty. Looking forward at the road I know all too well, its destination no secret, with every bump, groove and turn as familiar as the lines on my palms. I want to stop and just head home. Be there to see the excitement on the boys' faces when they see the presents under the tree, but something deep inside of me pushes me forward. Whatever it is, I can't fight it. No matter how hard I try, I just can't do it. So I follow the road past the empty car parks with their metal barrier teeth protruding through concrete gums. Leaves become the snare drum crunch to the tom-tom rhythm of my feet pounding on the pavement beneath. My skin is cold all over. My lungs feel like they're filled with menthol. I've not even started and already I'm so tired. I take the first of 3 bridges and wind my way onto the walker's path. Across the water to my right, the waning moon is painting the ripples with a hard silver edge, soon to be dulled by the soft mottled greys of a winter's day. On the other side of the lake, the old church peers out from the shadows of the pines. Its steeple a black needle pointing up through the treetops towards the source of all its power. One of its windows glints like a sniper's scope. The forest there makes that side of the lake so much darker, more menacing, and it's obvious why so many stories get told about it and that old abandoned church. I know it's just the perfectly shadowed gothic aesthetics that lends it to such tales, but I can't help but wonder if there's a little bit of truth around some of them. Alright, maybe not the one which starts with it being built on the foundations of some old mental institute that turned its patients' brains to mush through the daily abuse of shock therapy, and ends with how, when it was closed down, 3 of those patients didn't make it onto the transfer bus and now hide out in those woods, eating squirrels and breaking the dawn with loon laughter. And there sure as shit can't be any gateway to hell locked behind the wooden walls of that church. No slithering monsters with lashing tentacles searching for souls to drag into the earth. But the ghosts said to reside in its graveyard, the voices people say they hear when walking through those woods, I can believe in them, because I've been up there before. I can't remember when, but I do remember the strong feeling of loss I felt lingering amongst the trees closest to the church. Not loss in a death sense, but in a navigational kind, as though the God who once watched over it turned its back long, long ago. The air is as dull and lifeless as a dry pine-crusted earth. Nothing grows up there but echoes. Maybe once it could have been a nice place to come visit, but now I doubt even the dead buried up there want to wait around. Winding through birch and willow-sheltered picnic areas, I run past fishing nooks and bird hides, my feet popping and crunching along the yellow stone path. It's usually a happy place to be, even when my lungs are straining against the cold and my legs are feeling the burn of lactic acid. But today, happy is not the word I can use. Apprehensive, maybe. Frightened, even. I glance across the water and scan the trees to see if I can still spot the glinting of glass. And that's when I see the woman standing there in the clearing by the water's edge, where a single gravestone breaks the earth at her feet. She hangs her head, her hands clasped in front of her. She's dressed in a white gown, its material billowing, the wind pulling it away from her in slow movements that reminds me of seaweed drifting underwater. I stop running, and when I focus on her, I see that it's not material that surrounds her, but light, a bright white light. Her head slowly lifts and she looks across the lake at me. The sun has yet to fully swap shifts with the moon, but there is still enough light in the sky to bounce silver from her eyes, like a sniper scope. Pain and bitter anguish find me with that look. I've grown used to the weight of sadness, but amounts I've never experienced before tug at my heart in that moment. Is it mine or hers? Or both of ours combined? I'm just not sure. With her eyes still on me, she takes a slow step back away from the gravestone and stands there in the tree lines, watching me. Suddenly I panic. I don't know why, but I just don't want her to leave. So I raise my hand up in a hopeless plea, and as I do so, she waves back before erupting into bright vapour. Tendrils of white play amongst the trees and cling to the gnarly pine bark like smoke. Watching it, I want to fix what I've allowed to become broken even more. I didn't know how that could have been done before today, even with Dr. Jessup forging the tools for me, but that's different now, because within the eyes of a ghost, I feel like I've been shown the way. I can taste blood in my throat by the time I get to the path by the church. My chest is tight and my legs are lead weights. I stop at the crossroad where the path splits and I look into the trees, trying to catch my breath. Am I really considering going down there? With my feet working against my brain, I take the first steps into the forest and all light is eaten up by its dense canopy. The air is thick. The smell of pine should bring with it a cosy sense of Christmas, but instead I feel more rudderless and scared than ever. The shadows surrounding me seem to move like oil coiling in the hot waters of a lava lamp, melting from one shape to another and into another with every step. Darkness dancing with darkness where the swaying giants creak and groan. My feet crunch against needles and the shed fingers of bark. There are no birds twittering, no small animal feet scurrying through the underbrush. There are no signs at all that any life has ever been here, because this is a forest untouched by the living, and I have never experienced silence so still, yet so alive. The energy of this place pulls at the hairs on the surface of my skin and pocks my flesh with goosebumps. It's so much colder in here, and my breath blooms in grey puffs that hang unmoving before me. From in the distance somewhere comes a muted scream. But then, as its echo bounces towards me, it grows louder in a contrary way to an echo's nature, and I hear it for what it really is. It's not a scream at all, but the anguished sounds of sobbing. Inward pain, not of the physical but the sort that grips a mind and twists sanity right from it. Suddenly though, it stops, with zero resonance. Even though I see no gaps in the forest canopy, the church sits bathed in solid beams of sunlight, bright golden swords goring at its warped and withered wooden doors. Its stained glass windows, candy colours turned pale and sickly by the shadows behind them. Crooked gravestones spread out before it, their epitaphs worn invisible by the elements of time are now just granite markers of nameless death. I can feel someone out there with me, watching me. I try to shout hello, but all that comes out is another soundless puff of cold grey fog as the word remains clogged in my throat, that tight squeezing sensation keeping it prisoner. It was stupid of me to come here and chase a vision of sadness reborn in an apparition of death. I've got enough of my own that I still can't overcome. Did I really think I could help her rid herself of hers? I prepare my legs to run, but then a knocking from inside the church stops me. A woodpecker hammer, consistent and loud. Shadows move behind the stained glass. The sound of brittle bracken crunching beneath feet behind me has me turning away to look to my left. Someone is moving between the trees. I can't see them, but I can hear their footsteps. Louder. closer. More knocking comes from inside the church, this time accompanied by a slithering sound, wet, slimy. I turn on the spot, and not knowing what to be afraid of more, keep turning like a child in a playground hell-bent on making himself as dizzy as possible, my feet clearing a patch in the soil. Sweat runs down my spine. I feel it tickling its way over my skin. Wait, that's not right. I can't feel it. And that's the problem. I expect to feel it. Because isn't that what anyone should feel when gripped in the hands of fear? This, however, this is the phantom of what should be there, because I'm numb all over. Maybe it's from the cold, or maybe it's from fear. More footsteps move amongst the trees. They're surrounding me now. People everywhere. People I can only hear and not see. I try to shout out again, to beg whoever they are to stop. I meant no harm in coming here. I meant not to disturb a single thing. But that invisible grip around my throat continues to mute me. The sunbeams shrink away from the church door then, and behind it the trees part, their trunks bowing chivalrously to reveal the clearing where the woman in white had been standing by the water's edge. The creaking of branches gets louder. With it comes a swishing, like the abrading whisper of bristles brushing the forest floor clean. It's a sound that seems to invade all of my senses, and I can't resist walking towards it. My mind is screaming no, but I need to be in that clearing. I don't know why, but it's a feeling that's too strong to fight. As I walk past the church, its windows leer down at me, watching. I feel energy inside burning through its walls, hot and angry. More shadows, long and fat, thump against the wood inside and slide, squealing over the glass to leave slime smearing those candy colours. Wood cracks, planks split and light filters through. With it comes screams that pour out around me. Thin vines like tree roots slither out between the gaps and twitch in the air. At my feet, leaves swirl up from the ground. Twigs and stones and worms pelt my skin. The vortex shields me from the clearing as something wraps around my ankles and pulls me down into the earth. My feet sinking, flint and grit grinding through my shins. The sounds of tortured souls feeds the tornado of pain rushing around me. I can see eyes watching through the whirling mist of woodland debris. From every angle, thousands of them are set within shadowed faces. I pull myself up, clawing at the earth, and as my feet rip free, I clamber through the storm. The dull thuds of Lovecraftian cephalopod limbs against wooden glass chase me in echoes all the way, entwining with the moans of the approaching dead, but I refuse to allow any more of my mind to be taken up by the horrors of what this place holds. I need to be strong because my family is all that matters. My family is all that matters. I will escape these woods, and I will get home to them, even if that means fighting every burning demon to then swim the freezing waters of the lake to get me there. I break through the tree line. All sounds of the hell behind me are washed away by the peaceful lapping of cool, placid waves. The clearing is bright with a mist-doused sun. The grass is mowed short and dew clings to its blades, the droplets sparkling like earth's tears. What I thought was a gravestone before, I now see as a stump of a felled tree. Its 100 rings of life show me that nothing is escapable from death. Even this pillar of strength succumbed. There's a bouquet of fresh flowers that have been set at its base, and tied to the stems is a burgundy queue. Next to it rests a small picture of me with the boys. We're all smiling at the camera. I hardly recognise myself with such joy behind my eyes. My name has been carved into the front of the stump, along with the message 21 forever. Letters pinned beneath flutter in the breeze. I rip one off. It's from Dad. I miss you, Bean, is all it says. Another is from Charlie. His handwriting has gotten a lot better. At least the grump can't get you now. Be happy, bruv. I miss you always. There are so many letters, and on some the ink has long faded. But on the one Mum has written, the ink looks the freshest. My darling, I am so sorry you felt there was no other way out. I should have done more for you. I should have been there for you to talk to. I hope you know that you are loved. And I hope that where you are now, you can find happiness within your heart. Because even though you don't think it, you are the most amazing person I have ever known. And I am so proud to call you my son. I stumble and fall to my knees. My hands sink into the mud at the water's edge. I stare down into the water, but I'm not there where I should be in the reflection. My grey bloated face hangs in the air behind me, my neck ruptured and blue beneath the noose. The tree's ghost limb bowing under my weight, creaking, the swishing of my feet brushing over the earth as my body twitches towards death. I look back across the lake to where I'd stood watching my mourner watching me, with a sensation of looking into a mirror that faces another. Infinite reflections of unending worlds all the same. And I know that there is no way in or no way out, just a single space repeated in the same loop for eternity, the prison where my soul is to spend the rest of existence in contemplation of what I did. I'm trapped here, with the monsters and the ghosts, but worst of all, with the pain of discovery. The feeling of no purpose in life had driven me away from God's plan, to find one in ending things under my own. And the reality of what I did the day I came out here alone, with nothing but a rope and despair, rushes through me in a baptism of truth I now understand I have felt many times before, and that I will be forced to feel many times more if I can't find it within myself to shed the thoughts that pushed me here and find love within my heart. I hear Mum crying. I hear the boys with her. I turn to see their light breaking through the branches behind me. Even though I couldn't be there to help them become the adults they now are, they are here for me. They are all here for me. And shrouded in the light of their love, I walk towards them and finally towards that which awaits me between the pines.